Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. We're so glad to have you here. My name is Lisa Baroni. I'm Vice President for Alumni Relations and Development here at Trinity. We're so happy to see you. We know many of you are freshman parents, and some of you have not seen your children since you dropped them off at school. And they've been eating well, may have gained 10 pounds, but it's probably all in muscle because they're running up and down the hill every day. So they're going to be in good shape when they see you later today if you haven't seen them already. We are so delighted with the response that we've had to this. This has been brought to you by our Parents Council programs, and in front of you, you should have some information about the Parents Council as well as some information about mentoring, and I'll talk about those in just a minute. Also, I'd like to say hello to our Board of Visitors members who are piping this in. Hopefully everybody over there can see me. Over in Northrop Hall, we have a group called our Board of Visitors, and they're also participating by watching this. We didn't think we could quite squeeze everybody into this room today with this overwhelming response we've had by you folks, so thank you so much. So the information that I wanted you to take a look at, if you see in front of you, there's some information about the Parents Council, and as well as mentoring opportunities, as well as internship opportunities. For you helicopter parents, no, you can't really be a mentor for your own children. I'm sorry to tell you, but we would love to have you be a mentor for other students, as well as to provide some internship opportunities for them. This is one of the great ways, as you know, for our students to get exposure into corporate world, into nonprofit worlds. Wherever you may work, it's really very good for them to get engaged with. Also, from a mentoring perspective, we're always looking for mentors. So if you have some time that you'd be willing to share with some of our students, we would love to have you be a mentor as well. So as far as our Parents Council, this is one of the great ways that we can share information with you. We'd love to have you be a member. Thank you for those of you that are here that have already joined the Parents Council. We're happy that you have decided to join us. You will be supporting things like alcohol-free events for students, campus safety things for students as well, and other high-priority activities and needs for students on the campus through your gifts. As part of the Parents Council, you'll be receiving special invitations to programs such as this, as well as interactions with the leadership of the university, as well as the president. Also, today you've got a program in front of you. We're hoping to keep everybody on task. We've got quite a few speakers today, and you'll be getting information about the strategic plan, the curriculum changes, information about what's happening with our construction on campus, the recruitment network, career services, and you'll also get an opportunity to take a historical tour of our campus with Doug Brackenridge. He does a fabulous job, so if it's not too hot outside for you and you have time, please take that tour because you'll really enjoy it. And I'll give you more information about that as we kind of close as to where to meet. So to get things started off, we have our group of the Trinitones. This is our all men's a cappella group, and we're delighted to have them here, so I'm going to turn it over to you folks.
Hey, where did we go? Days when the rain came down in the hollow, playing a new game, laughing and running, hey, hey, skipping and jumping in the misty morning follow. Our hearts were thumping and you, my brown-eyed girl. You're my brown-eyed girl. Whatever happened, seems sailing so slow, going down the old lane with the transistor radio. Somebody find my way, now that I'm on my own. Saw you just the other day, my, how you have grown. Cast my memory back there long. Sometimes I'm just thinking about making out in the green grass, yeah. Behind, stay young with you, a brown-eyed girl. Come on, brown-eyed girl. Do you remember when we sha-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la, da-da, sha-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la, da-da, sha-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-da, da-da, sha-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-da, la-ti-da. It's alright, it's okay. I'll let you live another day. We can try to understand the New York Times affects a man. Whether you're a brother or whether you're a mother, you're staying alive, staying alive. Good to see you breaking it, everybody shaking, staying alive, staying alive. Staying alive, staying alive. Staying alive. Somebody help me, somebody help me, yeah. Like going nowhere. Somebody help me, somebody help me now. You can tell by the way you use my heart. Is it loud when you want to kick around? It's okay, you may look the other way. We can try to understand. New York Times affects a man. Whether you're a mother or whether you're a mother, you're staying alive, staying alive. In the city breaking it, everybody shaking, staying alive, staying alive. Staying alive, staying alive. Staying alive. Like going nowhere. Somebody help me. Somebody help me. Yeah. Like going nowhere. Somebody help me. Somebody help me now.
give one more round of applause to our friends at Trinity. I have to admit, I never thought in my life I would hear Staying Alive a cappella like that, so that was fabulous. All right, well, I should also mention before we get started, and some of you have figured it out, but the bouquets that are in front of you are your dessert, so please, feel free to dig in there, help yourselves, pass them around, and eat as you'd like. So we've got a tight program for you this afternoon, and to start off things, Dr. Michael Fisher is joining us. He is our Vice President for Faculty and Student Affairs and Professor of English at Trinity, obviously, since July 2000. Dr. Fisher directs our academic programs as well as oversees student affairs, intercollegiate athletics, international programs, and our Trinity University Press. Prior to joining Trinity, Dr. Fisher was Dean of the College of Arts and Sciences and Professor of English of the University of New Mexico in Albuquerque. He graduated magna cum laude with a BA in English from Princeton University. He earned a MA and a PhD in English from Northwestern University. As you might imagine, he's always correcting us in our English. So, he's an authority on modern literary criticism and critical theory. He has published 5 books, 21 articles, 15 book chapters, and numerous reviews. So please, let's welcome Dr. Fisher.
Thank you, Lisa. And I would have to follow the Trinitones, right, to talk about strategic planning. I think next year I'm going to renegotiate my place on the program. But in any case, you're going to be getting a handout that I'll be referring to at some point. But let me just give, by way of background, a couple of years ago, the university launched a university-wide strategic planning process as well as a comprehensive review of our curriculum. And by our curriculum, I mean what we call the common curriculum, the courses that students take outside their major. And we launched this for several reasons, one of the most important being that, as you know, the world of higher education is dramatically changing. And if you are not moving forward, you are actually losing ground. So in this environment, this complex, dynamic environment of higher education, it's a requirement that you continuously review and improve on what you do in order to remain relevant to the world of the students that you want to attract. Now, we're fortunate in that at Trinity, we were able, for us, what is at stake in all this is not surviving, but strengthening the already excellent education that we give. In other words, we were in the position at Trinity of building on our strengths, not starting from scratch. And we were also in the position of being able to approach this from a point of view that I would describe as we're not desperate to do this, but we're not complacent either. And so the strategic plan and curriculum that I'm about to discuss with you, you'll see that many of the essential characteristics of Trinity remain in what we're doing. And you'll see, however, that we've been adapting them to changed circumstances. So, to start with the strategic plan. This is the handout, if you look on this page. This plan was approved by the Board of Trustees at their May meeting, and we're starting serious implementation of it this semester. Very quickly, what it consists of is at the bottom there, you'll see 4 what we call strategic foundations. And by the way, within each of the categories that I'm discussing, there are many specific initiatives, and I'll mention a few of them. But these strategic foundations, such as strengthen market position, improve student recruitment, be an innovative leader for excellence in teaching and research, improve alumni relations, and build the infrastructure to support the needs of the 21st century university. These strategic foundations are things that we would be doing anyway. And they're preconditions for anything else we might want to do. So these are ongoing efforts that put us in the position to achieve what we call these strategic objectives that are at the top of the handout. And there are 4 of them that I want to to discuss with you. The first is objective number one, and again, there are many initiatives within each of these categories: strengthen opportunities for experiential learning. Now, by experiential learning, we mean learning that takes place outside the classroom. And one of the things that we feel is the strength of Trinity education that we can build on further is for students to tie together their work in the classroom with their work outside the classroom. And that might be in doing work in San Antonio. It can take a host of other forms. But the idea is that students' education is enriched when you apply what you teach, what you learn. So when you take what you've encountered in the classroom and you actually try to apply it in settings outside, this is a valuable educational opportunity for you. The centerpiece of this objective is we're founding what we call a Center for Engaged and Experiential Learning. And this will be a center that will make it more possible for faculty members to incorporate experiential learning in their courses and to expand what they're doing and to, again, tie their work to things outside. The second objective is to foster productive collisions as a defining characteristic of Trinity University. By productive collisions, and I'll get back to this when I talk about the curriculum, by productive collisions, I mean these opportunities that come when people from different disciplines interact. This is the vision behind our Center for the Sciences and Innovation, which brings together departments from across campus, giving them the opportunity of the exciting things that can come up when people from different perspectives work together on a common issue. And I'll come back to that in a minute. The third is to enhance students' international engagement and awareness. We are well aware that our students are going to be entering an increasingly interdependent world, where what happens in one part of the world has a bearing on every other part. And we want to prepare them for international citizenship. And the cornerstone of this objective is to create what we're calling a Center for International Citizenship, which we feel will even better prepare our students for the life they're going to lead in this, what I've called, increasingly interdependent, interconnected world. And then finally, the last objective is to maximize the educational and personal benefits of a residential liberal arts university. And there, we feel that with our 3-year residency requirement, that this is a real advantage for our students. And we want to make sure, though, that it has educational as well as social benefits. And so as one model for this, I might mention the Hope Hall, which some students have initiated, which is a place where students they're studying something, they're living together, and they're also applying it in the community. So try to integrate their living with their learning arrangements is what this objective is meant to do. And then finally, is there any way I can keep this from flickering? If you can't, maybe it's here, I don't know. Maybe I've pressed a button or something, but I'm losing maybe you can't. Anyway, okay, so turning now from the strategic plan to the curriculum, which is an offshoot of the strategic plan. That's on the next page. And thank you. Just one, yeah. What do you want that off? That's fine, yeah. Is it okay? Yeah, that's good. Thank you very much. Okay, the curriculum. The curriculum started out, the discussion of the curriculum, and this, by the way, was improved in principle by 80% of our faculty at the May Faculty Assembly, and it will be subject to a final vote in December. The curriculum started out, if you look at the bottom of the page, started out with our faculty thinking about what capacities they wanted our students to acquire to best prepare them for the world that they will enter outside after graduation. This is really important because professors almost inevitably, when they think about, myself included, when we think about a curriculum, we almost inevitably want to reproduce in our students what we ourselves learned. So you come up with a lot of academic equivalents of, well, when I was a boy, I walked 20 miles through the snow in kindergarten. Why can't they? Or when I was in third grade, I read all of Shakespeare. Shouldn't they? So the effort is to sort of turn out clones of yourself, really, in a sense, preserving your past rather than thinking about your students' future. What we did was very different. We started with thinking about our students' future and about the capacities we wanted them to acquire, we thought they needed to acquire to be successful after graduation. And these are listed there. They include written, oral, and visual communication, digital literacy, engaged citizenship, both locally and internationally, as well as what we call methods of creation and analysis, meaning we want our students to be able continuously to learn and to be able to apply their learning to new situations and problems as they encounter them throughout their career. So this is what we wanted our students to get. These are the outcomes, and we wanted them to get this in every course, not just in ones earmarked for each one. There are 3 features of the new curriculum that I think are especially impressive. The first is what we call on the handout there an intensive first-year experience. Currently, our students take a writing workshop one semester and a first-year seminar the next semester, except in the course that I'm happy to be teaching right now, which is HUMA, where they take the seminar at the same time as the writing workshop. That works very well. Both models work well. We felt, though, that it's actually a little bit better if students are working on their writing at the same time that they're in a seminar. And so we are arranging future first-year seminars will be grouped together thematically, and they will be coupled with a writing workshop so that students will be simultaneously taking a seminar and working on their writing, which is the case in HUMA today. The second is experiential learning, where again, mentioned this before, we're adding to opportunities for students for faculty members in all courses to incorporate experiential learning into their teaching. We think that it's that important to give students this opportunity to test out, to apply what they're learning. And then finally, and I think this is really especially innovative, is that we are grouping courses in what we call interdisciplinary clusters. And by that I mean, currently students take courses in different areas of the common curriculum. We call these the understandings. It's like understanding art and literature, understanding culture, so forth and so on. Instead, and what happens is it's very valuable exposure to a breadth of knowledge, but what happens is that then you have taken courses in each of these different areas, and then as a student, you kind of have to tie that together, and that can be difficult. So what we've imagined for the future is clusters of courses from different disciplines organized around a common topic. And this goes back to what I was saying earlier about productive collisions. We want to set up courses on topics that will bring together faculty from a wide range of departments so that students can experience what happens when people from different points of view, different disciplinary backgrounds interact. Because that increasingly is what they're going to be doing after they graduate, working in teams collaboratively with people who have expertise other than their own. And so a topic, for example, might be food, a cluster of courses on food where you could study food from a variety of perspectives, whether it's religion, economics, health, history, aesthetics. There are all kinds of ways that you can study that topic, and the idea is that this is going to be a liberal arts education in action. It's going to be what we really want our students to know, which is that whatever your disciplinary point of view, wherever you're coming from, you need to interact with people who maybe have a different angle on the subject and to discover the value of that interaction. And so I think that that's going to be a very exciting thing. Now, the curriculum as a whole will not be in place, given what it takes to implement something like this. It won't be in place until fall of 2015, but this is what's in it for you. your students. Starting next year, we're going to be rolling out features of this curriculum that students currently on campus can begin to experience. So I think that over the next couple years, some of these things will be available to all students even before the curriculum itself. And so I see this, along with the strategic plan, I see this as offering some really exciting opportunities, not just to future students, but to students here and now. In fact, I would go so far as to say that I can't imagine a more exciting time to be at Trinity University because of what I've been describing and the opportunities that are going to be created. I will also say, having just come from my HUMA class, I also want to be sure and say to you, to all of you family members, that all of us on the faculty here consider it such a privilege to be working with the students that you've sent our way. They're an impressive bunch of young people, and I enjoy so much working with them, and I know my faculty colleagues do as well. So in addition to describing all that lies ahead, I do want to thank you for entrusting your students to us and to tell you that we are really pleased to be teaching and working with them every day. So that's the strategic plan, that's the curriculum, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Fisher, and I hope you can see by the quality of the people here and hopefully people that you meet from faculty that this is a special place, Trinity is. And before we move on to John Green, I just wanted to mention as well that Dr. David Tuttle is here with us. David, you want to raise your hand? He is the Associate VP of Student Affairs and Dean of Students, so hopefully you've all had an opportunity. Anybody special you need to talk to? Well, I'm just kidding. Well, no, and I think tomorrow you're having a coffee or tea or something at your house. So there you go. Please take the opportunity to get to know David. John Green is our Director of Campus Planning and Sustainability, and he's been with Trinity since 1984. He currently oversees all major capital projects on campus that are either under construction or are in the planning phase, including the new Center for the Sciences and Innovation. John is also working on the new campus plan and sustainability issues on campus. He and his wife, Barbara, are parents of Maria, Trinity class of 2010, and Mark, who will graduate from Trinity this year, so he's also a Trinity parent. So welcome, John.
We're hoping that Mark graduates this year. He's taking an extra year to do that, so we've got our fingers crossed. So, no, as Lisa mentioned, oversee the construction activities and facilities planning activities here on campus. Been involved with the facilities since my arrival here at Trinity too many years ago. But as most of you are aware, the big project on campus under construction right now is the Center for Sciences and Innovation, CSI as we call it, and the overall project budget on that project is $127 million. It's a phenomenal project. That would be a big project at the UT Austin campus, but it's a huge project on a campus our size. It's a multi-phase project. Fortunately, I think everybody on campus will agree, we're nearing the end of this multi-year project. By this time, a year from now, we will be finished. We are currently in what we call phase 3 of the project. We opened up one of the phases this past August, and in which houses primarily the biology and psychology offices. In December, we hope to be moving into the next major phase of the project, and the departments moving into that phase will be the engineering science, chemistry, and computer science departments. We will then shift over to primarily to the Mars McLean Science Center, which is adjacent to the CSI building, and be doing some renovation there. That renovation will displace temporarily the departments of math, physics, astronomy, and geoscience during the spring semester. But they'll be back in their home in renovated Mars McLean in the summer of 2014. So come the summer of 2014, next May, June, we should be totally complete with the CSI project, a project we started really envisioning back in 2006, and planning started 2007, 2008. So we've been at this for quite a while, and it's a phenomenal project on campus. It's transformed the facilities on upper campus. If you haven't seen the middle of the campus, we've had some major changes that have been that this facility has had on upper campus. And I think Mike would probably agree that it's transforming the sciences on our campus. It's as he talked a little bit about the interdisciplinarity. Quite frankly, I think that a lot of that came out of the planning that we had for CSI back in 2007, 2008. So it'll be a physical example of the interdisciplinary activities that we're seeing on the academic side of the house. So this past summer, we also had a major renovation in the Whitwin residence halls. It was also a transformational project. In 3 months, we totally gutted that structure, 120 rooms. Down to the structure, removed all the exterior walls, interior walls, utilities, and basically rebuilt it, and completed it all within 3 months, about a $12 million project. So for those of you that are parents of upperclassmen that lived in Whitwin last year, I would advise you not to go to Whitwin on your visit. For those of you of parents of first-year students, I hope I'm sure that they are enjoying their new home at Trinity. Looking ahead, what's coming down the road, next summer we hope to continue our process of major renovations of residence halls. Next summer we're currently projected to renovate Murchison Hall. Murchison was the very first residence hall on our campus, built in 1952. So we hope to be doing some transformational work on that hall this next summer. So that'll be a little easier. There's only about 32 rooms in there instead of 120. So, but this is a process that we've undertaken, having a major renovation of residence halls pretty much every year for the last 10 or 15 years, and we hope that it will continue beyond in 2015 and beyond as we continue to improve what I think is one of our best assets on our campus, and that is our residence halls. We're very proud of them, and so we hope that your students are enjoying the residency in them. We are looking at, beyond that, we are currently working on the early stages of a facilities master plan to look at other facility improvements in the next 10 years. Nothing's set in stone, but there no doubt will be major projects on campus. I don't really think that we'll probably be seeing any new buildings, so to speak, but we have a lot of major renovations that I'm sure we'll be undertaking in the next decade, and those will come as a result of this master planning effort that involves students, faculty, and staff in that process with the input of the Board of Trustees. So I think that's about it. If anybody has any questions, maybe a couple of questions, maybe, if anybody about facilities construction plans. Yes, sir. Is Gary here? CSI has been financed by a combination of sources, and Some of them we have internally financed with savings, annual savings, where if our budgets, the university budgets conservatively, and if we have some money left over at the end of the year, they sock that away in a capital account typically, and so that's built up over the years, and so that's helped out. I think there have been some major gifts and for the CSI project, and there's some endowments that are involved and the like too. But I'm sure that Lisa will be more than willing to accept any donations to the CSI project or any other project on campus. So, but I'm not aware of exactly all. I do better at spending the money rather than raising the money. But, so, all right. Any other questions?
Are you going to continue to have any aspect of that part of the LEED certification guidelines?
Yes, we've on CSI. Well, first of all, we already have 2 LEED Gold buildings certified on campus: LEED Calvert Residence Halls and Miller. Wind project is a registered project with LEED. I mean, we aren't sure yet whether we're going to get silver or gold on wind, but probably I'm going to guess the guidelines are getting tougher and tougher. We may only get silver on wind. On CSI, on the first major phase of CSI, which was completed a year and a half ago, we've just recently been indicated that we're going to be awarded LEED Gold on that, although that's not been formally announced yet. But we do anticipate CSI reaching LEED Gold, and we'll probably have actually 2 plaques because of the phasing. So, but yes, we are actively continuing our participation in the United States Green Building Council's LEED certification program.
Does LEED certification end up costing the university more money in the long run or less money?
You know, I'm a firm believer that it saves us money. I have no doubt, absolutely no doubt, that we get a better designed building than we would otherwise. I think it challenges the architects and the engineers to get a more a facility that is more friendly to healthy to the users. If you go over to CSI and spend just walk in CSI, it's unlike any other building on campus. You know, the natural light, it just transforms that place. And we're talking not just new construction, we're talking about the portion that was the existing construction, which is difficult to do, to introduce natural light into existing construction, the building. And so, you know, I think that promotes a healthy environment. Some of the aspects of commissioning and energy conservation, you know, it pushes you to save more energy, and I think that those will save us. On CSI, we have a water recycling program where we collect the air conditioning condensate water and use it in our toilets and urinals in the building. I think it's the largest such project in the city of San Antonio. Water is a huge issue here in San Antonio, and so and we're very proud of the fact that Trinity was the very first commercial customer of the San Antonio water system for landscape irrigation, and 100% of our landscape irrigation and outdoor water features utilize recycled water. So I think it challenges the institution and the designer teams to build and design better and more efficiently. So, all right, thank you.
Thank you, John. We're going to move now into a presentation by Keely Malott. And Keely is our coordinator for the Alumni and Parent Recruitment Program. She is a 2011 graduate of Trinity. Shortly after graduation, Keely began working at Trinity's Office of Admissions as an admissions counselor, and she's been recruiting for recruiting first-year and transfer students around the country in that role. In her new role, which I want to just share with you, she's only began this role since August of this year. This is a role that was actually housed in my division earlier, but she has just hit the ground running. We're so proud of the work that she's been doing. She leads the Trinity University Recruitment Network, an organization of alumni volunteers who assist with the university's recruitment efforts. Keely is excited to begin incorporating parents into the new recruitment network this year. And in addition to coordinating alumni and parent recruitment initiatives, Keely also works with legacy students interested in Trinity. So please join me in welcoming Keely Malott.
Thank you, Lisa. It's so exciting to be here today. I remember this takes me back to when I was a student, and I would get so excited when my family came into town for Parents Weekend, and so I know it means a lot to your students that y'all are here this weekend. So welcome to our campus, and I hope that you guys are enjoying your time so far. I'm really excited just to be able to tell you today a little bit about my new role. And as Lisa mentioned, I've only been in this new capacity for a couple months, but I'm already really enjoying this new role because I'm getting to work with parents like you and also with our alumni. And so just to give you a little bit of background on what's been going on in admissions, we are constantly evaluating the work that we do and recruiting new students to Trinity. I know we have a lot of first-year parents in here, and so you remember this process since it was just last year when your students were going through and looking at the hundreds of different universities in the country and trying to narrow down what the best fit for them was going to be. And then once they applied and were admitted, figuring out of those schools, where are they going to be most happy spending their next 4 years. And so one of the things that we have come to understand throughout our office's work is just the importance of involving different people in the process of recruiting students. And so throughout the years, we've developed quite a few different programs. We've brought current students into the fold, and that's through our Trinity Distinguished Representatives. And I know I see a couple of parents here whose students are involved with that organization. And so that's a volunteer group where current students will reach out to our prospective students and tell them about their experiences at Trinity. We also have student tour guides, and we have students who help out with panels and all sorts of things. So we love your students, and we love how much they volunteer for us, and so we really appreciate their involvement. So we've seen that's been very effective. Our faculty are fantastic at also helping us reach out to prospective students. Our alumni, as Lisa mentioned, have been involved in the process for the last few years through a program that began being developed a couple years ago called the Trinity University Recruitment Network. And so historically, this has been an organization of alumni volunteers who have assisted in missions with recruitment activities throughout the country. And so they have been a huge help to us, and so we're continuing to develop that program. When I was hired and the executives in my office were thinking about my new role, we started thinking about parents, and we keep coming back to the fact that whether you know it or not, there's a lot of parents who have already been helping us with recruitment. One example that always comes to my mind, I recruited in New Mexico for the last 2 years, and there is a family there, the Gawa family, always hosts a winter reception, and Dr. Fisher goes with Mrs. Fisher and also assists with that reception, and I see a couple other parents in the room who have been to that as well. And this reception and receptions like this throughout the country have been so influential when students are making their decisions. James Dykeman, a student who is actually a Trinitone, who was just up here, he was on a panel a couple weekends ago for the National Alumni Board talking about why he ended up coming to Trinity. And he pointed to that reception and the opportunity for not only him to get to meet current students and alumni, but for his parents to be able to connect with other current parents. And so he was saying that after that, his parents felt like, okay, I got to talk to parents, I got to have this other perspective on Trinity, and they felt really comfortable sending him down here to San Antonio to go to school after being able to make those connections. So it's through these types of events and also us hearing when we always start conversations asking, okay, this is great, we have you on campus, or maybe our staff are doing interviews and we say, how do how did you hear about Trinity? And I've got to say, for a lot of our students, they hear about Trinity through our alumni and through other members of our Trinity family. So from parents and family friends and different folks that have been involved with Trinity, and they're always talking about the great experiences that they had or that their students have had at the university. And that makes them think, okay, I really trust this person. I know that they had a great education. Maybe I want to learn more about this place. And so that's how a lot of people find us. And so we definitely appreciate you guys going out and telling people about Trinity and the experiences that your students are having here. And it is definitely making a difference. And so between the experiences that we've had with the receptions and the feedback that we've received from different prospective students, we decided that we would really like to start involving parents in the recruitment process in a more formal way. So how Lisa mentioned that we are going to start having a parent section of the Trinity University Recruitment Network. And so this is going to be a process, and like she mentioned, I did just start, so we're just starting to roll this out, but we would like to get parents who are interested in talking to prospective parents, get them connected together. And so the ways that we're envisioning doing this are through these receptions that we would like to expand and have those in lots of different cities around the country. Also expanding and doing parent-specific calling and letter writing campaigns. So ultimately, my dream would be that all of our prospective parents are able to have the opportunity at least to connect with a current Trinity parent so that they can ask those questions that maybe they don't want to ask the admissions folks, or those concerns that they might have can be addressed. And so this is, a vision that our office has that we would really like to implement over the next couple of years. And so the way that we're wanting to do this is, like I said, just kind of starting on a smaller basis this year, and then next year, hopefully I'll be able to come talk to you guys and tell you how that's been coming along. But I am going to work with Lisa and her staff and help to identify different families who might want to become involved. And I believe we're going to be sending up a follow-up email to all of you, just thanking you for coming to the luncheon, and then also gauging interest in any of the programs that we've been talking about. And I know Twyla's going to speak a little bit to the Career Network as well, just to see if there's ways that you want to get involved. And I certainly hope you do, because this, having been in admissions for a couple years and also being very involved with the admissions office as a student, it is a really, really special experience when you're able to help a family who's going through that sometimes overwhelming process of picking a college for their student, and helping share your perspective about Trinity with them, and just help them come to that conclusion where they feel very good about where they're sending their student for their next 4 years. So more to come on that, but it really is such a pleasure to see all of you here today, and we are so excited that your students are here at Trinity, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Thank you very much, Keely. Twyla Huff is our Director of Trinity Career Services, and she graduated from Ball State University with a Master of Arts in Student Affairs in Administration in Higher Education, where she began her career as a graduate assistant in the university's Career Center. When Twyla joined Trinity University in 2004, she joined as a career advisor, and she became responsible for career services publications, marketing activities, and annual programming. Her duties also included providing students with career advising, coordinating student workshops and seminars, and writing career-related articles for campus publications. As director, she fosters contact with employers, faculty, and alumni. This is in addition to responsibilities in career advising, programming, and assessment. Twyla enjoys connecting students and alumni to resources that allow for exploration of career options and strategic pursuit of career goals. So I'm sure you're all going to get to know her very well, and hopefully your students are going to get to know her very well. So please join me in welcoming Twyla Huff.
All right, so I have visual stimuli other than seeing me stand behind this podium because I'm the last person and I want to still try to get you before you get into that slumber of all the delicious food that you just ate. So you can look at the slides as I go through and address the things that I want to talk to you about. So as she mentioned, I am the Director of Career Services. As of July 1, I stepped into that position. And so mainly what this is kind of give you an idea of is the direction that we're going within Career Services, but also to give you the resources that you need to know about to share with your students, because you all are their cheerleaders and you all are the ones that should hopefully point them in our direction. So as she mentioned, that your students would get to know. I would even put in, more importantly, that your students would get to know me and my staff, because we definitely want to prepare them for the things that they're going to be doing when they complete their Trinity education. So without any further delay, looking ahead at Career Services tomorrow. So this is the mission that we have been working with in the last 3 to 4 years under the previous administration. And basically it encompasses what we were working to do. We're working with prospective employers, graduate school recruiters, fellow alumni, so forth, and connecting them with students. Now, as we're moving forward, it's pretty much the same concept. Most career services offices that you would encounter will have the same focus, serving your students and helping them get that return on investment, which is either a job or graduate school, which will still eventually lead to a job. So this is the draft of the mission statement, basically simplified, same concept. Our mission is to empower Trinity students and alumni with career resources, connections, and coaching in preparation for successfully launching into a personalized career path. We realize that your students are coming to Trinity University for a unique reason. It may be a combination of 2 different majors, some instances 3, might be 3 minors in 1 major, or 1 minor, 1 major, or just 1 major. But either way, they have different passions and different paths. And so that's why we value seeing your student in our office so that we can work with them and helping them to identify what that personalized career path looks like. That is supported by our vision. Our vision is to be a dynamic, innovative center recognized by our students, alumni, faculty, and employers as a place where students are equipped to explore, or actively explore, not passively explore. So they need to come in again, strategically plan, and successfully launch into their career journey. So, actively explore. We help them do this by testing personality assessments. We do inventories, interest inventories. We help them research career fields. We have online resources so they can do this in their office. They can do this over summer break. They can do this over winter break, hint, hint, which is coming up in a couple of weeks. So if you have a student who is sitting at home just watching TV and they are clueless about what direction they're going with their career, or they're clueless about what they're going to be doing this coming summer, then you can say, hey, why don't you go to the Career Services website? I'm sure there are resources on there that can help you explore your career, or find an internship, or find research opportunities. Either way, there's lots of resources that they can look into, and I encourage you to ask them if they are sitting on the couch for 72 hours, that you encourage them to at least get on the internet for maybe 3 of those hours to explore and invest in their career direction, all right? We have different types of programs also that are meant for the purpose of helping them explore their careers, explore their interests, and so forth. Networking is another huge way. It was mentioned earlier about you all volunteering as mentors. That is one of the things that we use our alumni for as well. They love engaging with students and talking about their career path and how they made the decisions. I had a student who asked me yesterday whether he should do theoretical or more so applied engineering. And my response was, you need to talk to someone who's in the profession that you want to do and ask them which pathway they took. And so that's what we like to do, is connect them with the alumni who are in those professions that they're wanting to end up in. They can tell them what programs they went to for graduate school. They can tell them why they chose that program, and so forth. And so we really value your student connecting with alumni. We have so many different ways for them to do that, including online. So again, if your student is sitting at home, they can connect to the alumni through LinkedIn. I'm sure most of you are familiar with LinkedIn. Our students can join the LinkedIn alumni group even though they're not alumni. And currently we have over 4,000 alumni from varying majors in varying fields, in varying states, and in varying countries. Those are people that they can message through LinkedIn and just ask them those investigative questions. So, internships and research opportunities, service learning, and then also job shadowing. We'll have students who maybe want to go into, say, medicine, and I'll ask them, have you done anything where you volunteered at a hospital? And they'll be like, no. And I'll say, well, have you thought about shadowing? And they're like, well, I don't know any doctors to shadow. You don't know any doctors to shadow? Family physicians? I mean, there's lots of different people that they don't think about, which is one more reason why they just need to tap into an advisor, because they can talk to you about the doctors that you see or the doctors that they saw that they just didn't think about, and ask them if they could shadow them for a day or not. So there's lots of opportunities for them to get exposure to really find out what they want to do. Strategically plan. So we coach them. So students don't automatically, intuitively know how to present themselves in an interview. A great example of one of our programs is a professional practice interview days that we're doing next week, in which case they actually get to do a practice interview, which is a safe interview, with an employer who will then give them feedback about, how many times they twirled their hair or said and and how many times they say other things that may distract the employer from what they're really trying to say about themselves. So we really want our students to be able to walk away from Trinity University able to present themselves in a way that really markets them for the types of positions they're applying for. So we'll do those types of programs, other workshops and presentations. We're looking to implement a career portfolio program, and that's going to be a program that really follows them first year, sophomore, junior, and senior year to help them engage in the things that they should be doing each of those 4 years. If you're parents of a first year and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know why I have to sit through this session, you really should sit through this session, because your students should be coming into our office as well. There are things that we want to start them on early in their first year, as opposed to them waiting into their senior year, coming in our office and being like, help me. We want to help them, but we'd like to do it sooner. So please encourage your students, regardless of what class level they're in, to come into career services if they haven't done so already. And then networking, of course, helps them strategically plan as well. All right, and then finally, successfully launching. So here are some of our measures of success, which I'm sure are probably similar to your measures of success. We want them to have career contacts, not just for their first job, but lifelong mentors who might help them figure out what they should be doing the first week on the job, how they might respond to a certain situation that comes up because they're in the same type of industry. We also want them to have employment. I'm sure that's something that you all are looking for as well. And then graduate school, law school, medical school, so forth. So these are our measures of success. And so that's what we mean when we say we want to be able to assist them and empower them to be able to successfully launch into their career, their personal career paths. Here are our core values: guide, discovery, and clarification of career goals. It's okay for your students not to know what they want to do as first year sophomores and sometimes as juniors, but they really should be doing some sort of strategic exploration. It shouldn't just be, it's going to strike me one day. I'm going to go to sleep, I'm going to wake up, and I'm going to know what I want to do when I get up. Like, we want to be able to guide them through a process of eliminating things they don't want to do and then further researching things that they do want to do. Coordinate opportunities for experiential learning. I always encourage internships. Sometimes it's hard for first years to get them. That's fine. They can volunteer. Juniors and sophomores definitely need internships, and this is why it's ideal to start at least the sophomore year. If they decide, I want to be an accountant, and they go to that internship after their sophomore year and they're like, this is horrible, then they have the opportunity to explore what they really do want to do without adding an extra year. And so then they can explore that with us, and they'll have that summer after their junior year to do an internship in something else to truly get that exposure. So we want them to start that process early so they can really, pinpoint what it is that they want to do. We also want to facilitate career connections and foster professional relations, again with the alumni, but also with employers that we regularly work with, as well as employers that we're beginning relationships, and with you all as parents, because you have a role as well, because many times you're also in one position where you might be hiring people, or you might have a colleague who's looking for interns. We want to be able to allow our students to connect to those opportunities with your organizations as well. And then teach competitive marketing strategies. So a lot of times students don't realize that that's what they're doing, that the resume is a marketing tool, that their LinkedIn profile is a marketing tool, that they're marketing themselves in the interview. And that's part of what we want to teach them, is how to competitively market themselves. So here are the things: career exploration, career coaching, career planning. Those are the things that we'll talk about when they come in to meet us, so they can really discover and clarify what their career goals are. As they're coordinating opportunities for experiential learning, that includes our online resources where we have a collection of jobs, a collection of internships, and also volunteer opportunities. It was mentioned earlier, the Center for Engage in Experiential Learning. That is something I'm very excited about, because our students get to do academic projects that really allow them to actually collaborate with employers in the city. And those are awesome real-world experiences where they can put that consulting in their resume. Externships, job treks, job shadow, and then also we're looking to implement an internship scholarship program to help support those students who are unable to do unpaid internships. So that's also something that we're looking at doing further down. Facilitating career connections and fostering professional relations. So on-campus recruiting is an ideal way for students to connect with employers without having to have a car and without having to really do much other than look and see when they're coming to campus. So that's ideal for you to encourage them to look to see who's coming on campus. We have major companies like USAA, PricewaterhouseCoopers Consulting, Deloitte Consulting. We have FactSet, Southwest Research Institute, all types of graduate programs courting your students. And they come on campus with the objective of interviewing with them or giving them more information about career opportunities with their organization. And so definitely that's a way for them to develop those connections. Online resources and social networks, LinkedIn, as I mentioned. The alumni group has an alumni directory that has over, I think, 24,000 alumni profiles in it. So that's also a resource for exploration. And then, of course, programs and events that we do, like networking receptions and so forth. Faculty liaisons is also a very important way. I mean, at Trinity University, with the small size, there's really not very many excuses that are legitimate for why a student can't connect with professors. And so I definitely encourage them to connect with faculty. Employer relations, we're developing that in our office. We have a new staff member position that will be coming available, and that will be more of their focus to further develop employer relations. Alumni integration, we have alumni who really want to be engaged. They've been there and they've done that. And so we like to bring them in to do the interview success workshops. We bring them in to come in and talk with them about how to network and how to prepare their resume for a certain industry. And then also the same thing with our parents. We want to involve them as well. And then also advisory boards. And the purpose of advisory boards is for us to make sure that we're aware of our students being primed for being competitive for positions. What are employers looking for? All right, and then going back to the competitive marketing strategies, helping them to understand it is their responsibility to shape and define their personal brand. It is not the employer's responsibility to try to dig out who they might be and what they could possibly bring to the table, but it's the student's responsibility, not just through the resume, but also through their digital footprints, which means when I Google a student who is applying for a position, I see things come up on their profile and online that support that they really can do the type of work that they're saying they can do. Professional presentation we talked about a little bit earlier, networking programs we talked about, and then career management. So that career management piece goes back to getting exposure and getting experience early on, because that's really going to promote them for the types of positions that they're looking for. Let's see. Okay, so here are some of the things that we're looking to do. I mentioned all of these so far, with exception to the peer advisors. That's bringing in some of the upperclassmen who can share information about how to do the resumes based on their internship experiences and things like that. We also have the resources that I talked about earlier with Tiger Jobs. Social media is something that we're helping our students understand so they can better market their brand. Externship programs, internship management will be coming through our office as well. Career portfolio I mentioned, internship scholarship. We will have faculty liaison areas, so your student will say, I'm interested in engineering, and there will be a particular advisor in our office that we would direct them to because that's their area of interest. Same thing with all of the other majors as well. You're probably aware that we now have a School of Business as opposed to a Department of Business. One of our faculty members will be designated to work in the School of Business part-time, and it's the same thing with the liaison model. Basically, there's one advisor in our office who works with a certain number of schools or a certain number of programs, and that's who your student would see within our office, making things a little bit easier. We have a professional association, a student professional association, and we also are looking forward to collaborating on some of the centers that were addressed earlier when Dr. Fisher addressed you all. The Center for Engaged in Experiential Learning, we will definitely be a part of that. The Center for International Citizenship, we have lots of students who go abroad and who study abroad. We encourage them to do internships while they're abroad, because anything that you bring to us, we're going to tag in something career focused. That's just what we do. And so if they're going abroad, we're going to say, hey, you should network with some of our alumni in that area. Or, hey, you should look at doing an internship or volunteering or something in addition to the academic coursework that you would be doing. And then also the Student Success Center would be something important as well, because a student is much more likely to be successful if they're focused and they understand what they're trying to develop themselves into as far as their career objectives and their career goals. So again, our vision is to be a dynamic, innovative center recognized by Trinity students, alumni, faculty, and employers as a place where students are equipped to actively explore, strategically plan, and successfully launch into their career journey. And that is my presentation to you about what we do. Again, please note that your students are encouraged to come in and see us regardless of what stage of their academic career that they're in. If they're first years, we want them to explore. We want them to job shadow. If they're sophomores, we want them to do internships. We want them to be thinking about what major they're going to declare. If they're juniors, we want them to be doing internships and research, depending on what type of field they're going into. They need to be networking with professionals who will be their mentors. Seniors, they need to be applying for graduate school. They need to be applying for employment. They need to be tapping into those contacts that they've met in their profession. So as you can see, there's something for them to be doing at every step of the way, and we'd like to be there to help them with that process. Thank you.
We are a little bit ahead of schedule, and since we still have our four panelists up here, why don't you all three just come up here, and if anybody has any questions, we can take a few questions. Does anyone have any questions for either Keely, Twyla, or for Dr. Fisher?
Planning positively or negatively?
Yes, so for the Board of Visitors, the question was, do we prepare them as far as being responsible for their social representation online? I'm guessing that's what that was along the lines of.
Facebook?
Exactly, yes. Yes. We do. In fact, I do a presentation pretty widely for several different classes, and it's basically talking about marketing your brand. And one of the things that I do towards the end is a big red warning. It's important for you to not just put things out there about you and have control over your LinkedIn accounts, but it's also important for you to be aware of what is out there in LinkedIn, MySpace, Facebook, well, not LinkedIn so much, but Facebook, and take control over those things that could really reflect negatively on you. So yes, responsible social networking, we do.
Twyla again. What was Delta Epsilon Iota again? I'm sorry, I zoned.
No, it's okay. I just flew right over it. So Delta Epsilon Iota is actually honor society for career services. So the students who get involved with that are the ones who we have hosting career fairs. So when our employers come in, they're the first point of contact. So they really get to connect with them, taking them to their tables, getting their business cards. They also do mock interview programs. They do resume workshops for themselves, but they also are trained to do that for other students. So it's really basically professional preparation.
Twyla, again, could you describe a little bit about job shadowing?
Yes, so job shadowing, there's a couple of ways. Right now it's informal, so we would just connect them with alumni contacts or employer contacts that we have, and we would teach them the way to address them by shooting out an email to introduce themselves and then getting on the phone and doing an informational interview that way, or say they're back home where they're from in Houston or something like that. They can set a time to do that during their winter break. And basically what they would do is ask them if they could come in and watch what they do for about 4 hours or maybe for the whole day. And then we would provide them them with like an informational interview sheet so they can know what sort of questions to ask. Oh, I'm sorry, the question was job shadowing.
Other questions? Yes, over here.
How do you communicate with the students to encourage them to come and use your resources?
How do we communicate with students to encourage them to use our resources? So what we do is social media. So that's one way. We definitely have a Facebook and a Twitter page that we encourage them to use. We also are pretty visible with banners in Maybe, and then also banners in the lobby here in the Coast University Center. We have announcements about regularly upcoming events in several different formats. So Leroy, which is the daily newsletter that students get, and then also there's a career class newsletter that they get based on what class level they're in, and that's monthly. And we also have a section of that where we update that information. And then also we have Tiger Job systems. So for instance, I'll use Southwest Research Institute. They're looking for engineers, scientists, and IT. I would do a search on my Tiger Jobs database, and I will send out an email directly to every person who qualifies for that position that they're looking to hire for. And then also we send information out to the faculty, and the faculty, I think that's more so what gets them there, sends out an email to their classes or to their listservs.
Any other questions?
Keely, how can parents become hosts to help you recruit?
Good question. So the question was, how can parents become hosts and help us recruit? So in part of the follow-up email that we're going to send out, I'm going to have a survey in there that's going to ask who is interested in what. So whether it's helping out with the calling campaigns, hosting the receptions, attending the receptions, those sort of questions. And I also have my business cards with me, so I'd love to give one to you afterwards as well.
Any others? We in the back?
Can you be more specific about which of the curriculum changes you're going to have implemented by next fall?
The question was which of the curriculum changes we're going to have implemented by next fall. I think the first one that will be developed will be some of these interdisciplinary clusters that I was talking about. And that's part of the implementation process that'll be underway, is that faculty members have to get together and plan topics and see what will work among themselves. So that would be, my guess, is probably the first.
Up here in the front?
Yeah, a question for Dr. Fisher. I have two kids at school here, and they're both engineering students. My daughter took a humana class, and she really enjoyed it. Are the engineers in this new curriculum going to be taking more humanities, or still the same number of hours and that kind of stuff?
The question was, will students in a program, in this case engineering, will they be taking more hours? How will this impact their major? And the answer is it won't have any impact on department majors. All department majors will still be based on what we currently call the common curriculum, and we just hope it'll be a more impressive mix of courses that feed into the curriculum. But majors are determined by departments, and in the case of disciplines like engineering, there are accreditation issues that these departments have to deal with. So everything we're doing with the curriculum is consistent with our current departmental majors.
I can agree.
Where's your office located?
That's a very good question. Right upstairs. So I just came right downstairs for the lunch, and I'll go right back upstairs for walk-in hours. We are located here in this building, and we probably will be moving to a different location in the next year or two because we are expanding. We're building a larger team to better serve your students. And so for now, we're right upstairs. The other thing is we have walk-in hours where your students can come in and have short questions answered, 1:30 to 4 Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then Tuesday and Thursday we do them in the mornings from 10:30 to 10:30 to 1. But then we also have appointments anytime between 8:30 and 5.
This is for Dr. Fisher. With the common curriculum and all of that, does that affect the amount of credits that you have that the kids have to take? Do they have to take like more credit hours and all of that in order to graduate on time and that kind of thing?
The question is, with the changes I'm talking about, will students have to take more credit hours as a result to graduate on time? the answer is no. The number of credit hours remains the same. And so this is really meant to be consistent with the education that everyone is currently getting. And it's just, again, to improve the mix of courses that feed into majors and to a student's academic career. So it shouldn't have any effect like that.
Any other questions?
It's on the term productive collisions. So for the entrepreneurial bug, and the question is really for career services.
I was hoping it'd be for me, you know, I think I'm getting outnumbered here. Go ahead.
So in the vision, the mission, I didn't see the execution of the idea of entrepreneurial interdisciplinary objectives as part of what you aim to do. So is it there hidden somewhere?
It's not within the vision, but it is there as part of what we do. In fact, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Center for Entrepreneurship that we have here, but I am in collaboration with Dr. Luis Martinez, who is the new director for that program, and we are very connected as far as the different types of internships that students will be able to do at small and medium-sized businesses to get that experience of what's involved with that, and then also with the different types of program, and as well as promoting and encouraging students to be involved with the 3-day startup, which is also an initiative that allows them to kind of expand on their entrepreneurial experiences, innovation, and being creative. And then also we provide them the same sort of support that we would provide to other students as well. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. Any link to what's called VCs or venture capitalists or the finance world? The world of finance?
We do not through career services, and I'm sorry, I didn't repeat the question. The question was in regards to entrepreneurship and having that supported through career services. We do not have anything with VC, but I am aware that there are other universities that do provide opportunities for students and alumni to be able to get funding either from the university or from alumni or other folks who want to contribute to that. If there was something like that to develop, it would come through the Center for Entrepreneurship. Oh. I'm sorry, one more thing. We do have an entrepreneurship hall, and that's about, I think, 20, could be a little bit off, it's either 20 or 28, very distinctly different, but 20 or 28 students who are involved with the entrepreneurship hall, and what they're doing is they're designing an initiative as part of one of their requirements, and then they will submit those, and then there will be students who actually will be funded to implement their entrepreneurship ideas in the summer. And so there is funding through that piece.
All right, thank you all to our panelists again. Let's give them a big round of applause. Before we close today, I again want to thank you for coming to the luncheon, but more importantly for sending your children and entrusting them with us. We really enjoy having them around. It's a very lonely campus when the kids aren't here, I'll tell you that much. If you do have any of those cards that you have filled out, either for the Parents Council program or for mentoring or internship opportunities, feel free to fill them out, either leave them on the tables, or Jackie is at the back with the kind of orangish reddish jacket on. You can leave them with her or bring them to me. I'd be happy to take them. But for those who are interested, we do have a wonderful tour of Trinity, a historical tour that Dr. Doug Brackenridge is going to give, and Dr. Brackenridge is right there in the back. We'll probably take a 10-minute break for those who need a little quick break, but Dr. Brackenridge is Professor Emeritus in the Department of Religion, taught at Trinity for 40 years before retiring in 2002. He holds degrees from Muskingum College, Pittsburgh Seminary, and the University of Glasgow, where he received his PhD in ecclesiastical, I'm not going to say that right, history. He'll explain that to you, whoever goes on the tour. Doug thoroughly enjoyed his classroom teaching and interacting with students. He wrote Trinity, A Tale of Three Cities, which was published by the Trinity University Press. It's a fabulous, fabulous book if any of you would like that history as well. In retirement, Doug volunteers in the university archives, at alumni events, and for campus tours. He is currently working on a family history and exercises regularly at the Bell Center, yes, and jogs with former colleagues. So take a 10-minute break. Those who'd like to come on the tour, come back here, and Dr. Brackenridge will get you on that tour. So thank you so much for coming today.